is the Vintage RPG Podcast, your source for the best in classic and contemporary RPGs. With your hosts, Hambone and Stu.
Welcome to Vintage RPG Podcast, coming at you again from the clubhouse hidden somewhere in the swamps of New Jersey. I'm John Hambone McGuire, and with me, as always, is the founder and publisher of Unwinnable. This time, when he heard a train a-coming, it took him to Indianapolis, Stu Horvath.
It did. But did it take me home?
No. Oh, no, don't tell me you got boned again on the return trip.
So, Saturday night, well, let me start it a little earlier just to express the fatigue. Saturday morning, I wake up, I pack my stuff, I check out of the hotel. Clay Fleischer picks me up from the Discord patron.
Oh, how nice. Don't bury the lead. You got to hang out with Clay in real life?
Oh, this is the second time, actually. We did the same exact thing last time. I just didn't. I can only go to the show so much. So we went to we had breakfast at Denny's. We went to the Kurt Vonnegut Museum, which was cool.
Look at you, fancy guy.
Yeah, I mean, And then he dropped me off around 2, and then I was on the show floor basically from 2 till close at 6. After 6, me and my editor Noah had dinner with James Lauder, which was really cool.
Lucky. Now you're just dropping names. You hear that sound, folks? Names hitting the floor. But go on.
And then there was an Exalted funeral party down at a place called the Floppy Noodle, I think is the name of it.
I'm going to refrain from any kind of commentary on that, but go on.
It's a blues and jazz club, but I was trying to get there, but we got there after they left. So I just sat there for, me and Noah chatted for an hour or two, had some drinks. And then the nice thing about the Floppy Noodle, or whatever it's called, is that it's 2 blocks from the train station. So I just trundled on over to the train station at midnight, and the train was late. So I had to stand there with my luggage in what is actually the same bus. So the train station is just 2 elevated tracks that run over the bus depot, which is where my trip ended last year. So I was not excited to get off the train and have to walk through the bus depot, and I wasn't super excited to have to go back. But I was waiting there, and then the train comes, and I get on the train, and the attendant's just like, "Your bed's all made up, take a load off. Breakfast service starts at 7." So I flop in bed. It's 12:30, and I immediately go to sleep. And then at 6 o'clock, I wake up, and I think to myself, I don't even wake up. I just sort of turn it over like you do. And you just wake up just enough to manage it, right? While I'm doing that, my consciousness is we're not moving, Stu. And I was like, oh, that's interesting consciousness. Let me look out the window before I go back to sleep. And the train wasn't moving, and we were still in Indianapolis.
Oh my God. What the hell?
So at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm just well, I guess I got to deal with this. So I get dressed, get out of bed, find the conductor. The conductor's like, yeah, well, here's the deal. It took us we were late because there was a problem down the line. They managed to get us into the station. There was a freight train was stuck. And we figured we would be on our way in an hour or two. But then way down the line, while that was going on, there was a coal trail derailment.
Oh,
a coal train derailment. 9 cars, 400 tons of coal, something like that. So they're like, what we're going to do is we're going to take you on train to Huntington, Virginia, and we're going to put you on a bus from Huntington, Virginia to D.C., and then from D.C., you'll get a train again to Newark, New York, and we'll get you there. And I looked at the guy, and I was like, look, man, I appreciate that, but I don't think I can get on a bus.
Never again.
And he was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, look, the reason I'm on the train, and I explained the whole thing that happened last year, is my flight got canceled, and I was on a bus for 18 and a half hours. I don't think I could do a bus. He's like, well, let's look at what the airports have for you. So there was a Spirit flight at 10 o'clock, and I got it. Okay, so this was way, way better than last year.
Yeah,
but it was also super tiring. And it was a lot even though the flight itself is only an hour and 45 minutes, and I did get to sleep a little bit on the train, like it was still like a full day of travel.
Well, it's an
In a
ordeal.
weird way. Yeah, it was an ordeal.
It's heightened anxiety. It's heightened stress. It's that like immediate like everything falls down into your guts like moment of peril where you're like, I'm still here. Like there is a lot. I mean, for people who maybe don't travel as much, I can tell you from experience, I used to get stuck in Michigan all the freaking time. And I don't know what it was. Every time I went to Michigan, I just always had to pad the trip a few days for work because I knew I wasn't going to make it home in a reasonable amount of time. And I didn't think about taking trains back then. I just went and got drunk and kind of hung out.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you hear your flight is delayed, normally you're like, your flight's canceled. You're like, when you wake up somewhere where you're supposed to have been departed many hours ago, still in the same place, you're just,
And I got to haul around 50 pounds of books in a suitcase, and like it was like, let me tell you, I got that Spirit flight. I booked it in the Uber on the way over. I got to the Spirit desk to check my luggage, and I was there before anybody was there. So I had to wait there. And then by the time I got going, like it was about 8:30, which was the exact time that I was there last year. And the gate was at the same end of this airport. And I ate at the same restaurant. I had the same meal. I sat in the same seat. I was served by the same waitress at the same time on the same day of GenCon. I was just like, this is gonna go wrong. Like I was eating, it was the worst breakfast I've ever had because
Groundhog
it was
Day.
like it was like it's like the Twin Peaks. It's happening again. Like I couldn't. It was impossible to relax. Even right up until the plane pulled up to the gate. And it wasn't even until I like we were airborne where I was just like, okay, I'm actually going to get home today before the train was supposed to arrive. Okay. And I even got my refund while I was in the for the train ticket while I was in the airport waiting. It was great.
Amazing. Yeah, because they knew there were nothing they could do about it. I mean,
no, the conductor was like, everybody, even if you stay on the train, you're going to get a refund for this ticket. Like you will get this money back.
Dude, what a cock up.
Yeah, I mean,
so are you going back next year? And what method of travel will you try? Driving.
I'm gonna go by boat.
you gonna just take a boat up to Canada, cut through.
Yeah, somehow find the White River down. Yeah, I don't know. I want to go because this one was actually a really good show, professionally for me, I think. But like, seriously, the travel is just so, hey, and as comfortable as the train going out was, I really loved the train. And it was like it was cool to just like sit around and read and have people like, the attendant brings you pretty good food, 3 meals. It was all very comfortable and nice, but it was long. And when the planes are working, it's an hour and 45-minute flight.
Yeah,
so
Jesus Christ.
And the conductor had joked that it was like that. It's good that I got some sleep on the train because I wouldn't be able to sleep on Spirit. Spirit is like the cheap airline. I guess they call it a budget.
Yeah, wing it, wish and a prayer.
Yeah, but honestly, I paid for what passes for first class. It was like 3 times the amount of the ticket, but it was still less than $250. And it was far less than the train ticket. And those seats were pretty comfortable. Like I could have fallen asleep if I was a little bit tired and it was a longer flight. Like I would definitely fly Spirit again. It wasn't bad. I don't know how it was back at steerage, but
yeah, no. I mean, I've flown to GenCon before. I've driven to GenCon. The one time I flew to GenCon, I ended up getting first class, and it was United, and it was legit. For a very short flight, I was very comfortable. It's one of those things where I'm like, there was years ago they were talking about moving GenCon out of Indianapolis, and God, I wish they did. I wish they'd like take it to Chicago, because it's so much easier to get to and from Chicago than it is to get to and from Indianapolis.
Yes.
And I think more people would go if it was in Chicago. And a lot of people go in Indianapolis, but man, Chicago's a happening town.
But is Chicago a bigger convention center?
That I don't know.
That's the thing.
I just think that it'd be nice,
No shade on the folks who live in Indianapolis who are listening right now, but I don't like your city. I have a hard time there. I
can always find parking though.
I mean, I Ubered everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't like. I feel like me and Clay have gone to 2 out of the 3 museums at this point. We just have to go to the art museum next year. And then that's it. Like, I don't think that there's a lot on offer. Everything's a steakhouse, which is fine. But like, man, I got home and I got Thai food, and it wasn't even great Thai food, but it was awesome Thai
Doesn't
food.
matter. Doesn't matter at that point. After you've eaten nothing but burgers and pizza for like 3 days.
I have like this problem with the fact that like everybody's just like, what is it, St. Elmo's? They're just like, you got to have the shrimp cocktail, and it's like, my man, there are no shrimp living within 100 miles of this place.
Yeah.
How are we eating shrimp cocktail and calling it the best thing in the city?
Is the burger place still next door to St. Elmo's open?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because that place is where I had like one of the best burgers of my life that I did not make from my own hand. And see, burger's good anywhere, like shrimp, seafood. If you're depends on how far away from the coast you are, man. Like,
yeah, I do like. We went to the Eagle's Nest, me and Noah, for dinner. I like that place because it's a rotating restaurant, and I think rotating restaurants are cool no matter
oh my
where
god,
they
so
are.
cool. Yeah,
And like, there's a lot of bourbon around, which is always nice. But like, they have bottles of Buffalo Trace that aren't $40, which is like, I find that to be such a novelty.
yeah, right.
Like, that was a $25 bottle when I first started drinking Trace, and now it's a $40 bottle, and it's like I'm just not going to pay $40 for Buffalo Trace when I could buy a bottle of Basil Hayden.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, did you stop at duty free then and get like a cheaper bottle of booze?
No, I was too out of my mind, and my bag was too heavy. So
Yeah, you are not what one would refer to as a light shopper at a convention.
no, I packed so last time I packed a bag in my bag. I had like a big giant suitcase with like a smaller like carry-on size suitcase in there. I couldn't do that because I came out on the train, and there is a size limitation on the bags that you can bring on the train. And I was gonna like flaunt it, but it's good that I didn't, because I think that it literally would not have fit in the baggage area of my room.
Yeah.
It was like everything, but it was like 2 inches too tall, and I think that 2 inches would have meant like it would have been sticking up, and if we hit the brakes hard enough, it would have fallen on me, and that would have not been great. So what I wound up having to do is I brought 2 carry-on bags. One had my clothes in it, and one was empty.
There you go.
And then on the way home, it was not empty. It was, but it wasn't overweight. I was really surprised when I got to the airport, genuinely shocked to put it on the scale and have it come in at 45.5 pounds. It wasn't. I mean, I bought a lot of books from Chaosium, and they're not light, especially when you stack them up. But it came in under the weight. So I'm proud of that.
So let's talk about other things than your insane travel. Like, what else? What else about Gen Con do you want to relate to our listeners?
Let's see.
Well, how was your panel?
It was fun. So that was cool. I don't like public speaking, but I didn't want to do a podcast way back when. Now we did a podcast. I got over that. I could do any kind of podcast. And then when we did the podcast, I was just like, I don't want to interview people because that makes me nervous. But then we did, and like I got over that, and I could do any kind of interview on a podcast. And then we did the radio show this year, and I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. And I had like 5 days of anxiety before the radio show. But then we did the radio show, and I was just like, wow, this is, go figure. It's not really all that different from a podcast. The only difference is that you're in a studio that is you have to get comfortable in.
Yeah.
But when you're on the radio, you're talking to thousands of people potentially in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's like a little overwhelming until you realize like, yeah, but like you don't see them and they don't see you, and like, whatever, who cares? But a panel is potentially 100 people in a room staring at you as you talk. And I was a little nervous, but I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be. Possibly because I've talked to my doctor and I got some beta blockers, and those are pretty good.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, all of this anxiety that I'm describing is what they call body anxiety. It's just like I get real like tensed up, and it's really uncomfortable. And then that makes it difficult for me to like think normally. And but if you take a beta blocker, you got to talk to your doctor about it, because I'm not a doctor. It's heart medication, but it also just does this thing where like if you're anxious, it just stops. If you're body anxious, it stops you from being body anxious. So it's great. It literally, it like for me, it just feels like a switch is being flipped, and then I can function normally. And so that worked perfectly at the panel. I took it a half hour before. I wasn't even nervous when I took it. I was just like, oh, it's a half hour, so I should do that. And it was great. The panel was fantastic. Rick Meintz, John Peterson was the moderator. Jeff Richardson and Steve Marsh for the first one, which is the one that I was really on. And it was like the early days of RuneQuest and how it developed. And it was just, there were some snafus with the setup. We weren't quite on the schedule officially. So people, I don't know, there were about 50 people there out of the 100 that we could have had, but it was fine. It was cool. Like I said some stupid shit, like, cause I'm an idiot, but it was really cool to just be at the table with those old heads. Steve Marsh is like really sweet guy, like interesting guy, is sort of like the secret guy who was working for everybody a little bit at the time. Like he's credited with creating most of the aquatic monsters that show up in supplement 2 Blackmore for D&D. But he also did a lot of work consulting and work on RuneQuest and other Chaosium stuff. He's just like been around, like,
he's a mechanic.
Yeah, and he's like one of the old heads who's like one of the last of the real old heads. Like, there's a few of them, but they're few and far between at this point. It was really nice to meet him. He actually came by the MIT booth later and had his picture taken with me, which was really
Oh, that's nice, man.
Yeah, they were really impressed with the cover art. I don't think they bought a copy of the book, him and his wife, but they really liked the cover art. So, Kyle, good job. So that was the end of Thursday. The show is, as always, overwhelming. So many people selling things. It was fun. It was interesting. I saw the Wizard Van. And
Wizard Van. Love it.
Love Wizard Van Wayne. We actually, so it was funny too, because Sarah, my co-host for Games People Play, was off at a conference or convention or gathering, something. I don't know what you call it, but she's been playing a MUD for like 30 years online, and they have annual meetups. And when she was at that in St. Louis, she got stuck. And of course, while she was stuck, we got a fill-in for the show at FMU. And so we did it where I was in the studio and she was remote. And this time, while I was at GenCon, we had a fill-in where I was in my hotel room and she was in the studio. And we talked a whole bunch about Wizard Van Wayne and how cool GenCon is and train travel and Horror on the Orient Express. But that was that was Friday night. So like I had to cut my time at the convention short. And kind of like had to go back to the hotel and then once you're in the hotel, it's like heavy gravity. It's really hard to escape it. I was supposed to go back out, and then I didn't. It's just like this. I have a bed here. There's a bar downstairs. Like what else do I need? I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna look at all these cool books I bought.
Yeah, no. Once you've been out and about at a convention like that, on the floor and walking around, and you're literally your butt touches the bed, there is like this gravitational pull that just tries to pull your body back down to the bed as well.
Yeah.
And then once any part from above your waist touches that bed, you're boned. You're not going to want to get out of that bed again, because once your feet leave the floor for a second, it's like the circuit is broken and you're like, oh my God, my feet are so tired. Especially like you're not one who's known for wearing sneakers.
No, I wore my boots the entire time.
Yeah, so like that's a hard floor to be walking on in boots for like multiple hours of a day.
Yeah. The MIT booth worked well. That was cool. I don't know if I've mentioned it to you, but I was the bookstore. MIT won't let I don't know if I'm supposed to not talk about this, but I am. MIT won't let MIT Press file for sales tax in other states, so they use a third party to supply their books. There was an issue last year, which I won't get into details, but their old third party wouldn't do it this year, so I did it, which means that I made a whole lot of money selling books this trip, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I covered my travel and most of, if not all of the Chaosium books that I bought. But that was really cool, actually. Yeah, it's nice to make money and stuff, but it was also nice to just be at the booth a part of the time and be selling. The best moment of the show was on Saturday afternoon when, I had spent like the last hour at the booth with Noah and Bryn. They sold like gangbusters. I think it wound up being 2 boxes were left. We had shipped out 12 or 13 and there was only 2. It was 20 books at the end of the day.
Amazing. On Saturday.
That they had to that they brought home on Sunday. It's probably about 40 books at the end of the day Saturday. So I spent the last hour there. It's the last I'm going to see both of them basically until next year. You're on the show floor, like they flicker the lights, being like they're closing, and then like they say everybody pay up and do your stuff and get out. And but like at 5:58, this guy's walking by and he stops and he looks at my book and he goes, "What's that?" And Noah starts giving him the spiel, and he picks up the book and he's looking through this and he's just like, "This is amazing. This is so cool. This is the book that I've been looking for the whole show." And he's just so excited to see this book. He's like looking at the covers and he's like, "This art is fantastic." And he's just like going through it. And then he looks over and he sees the last copy of the deluxe. We only brought 2 copies because they're too expensive. And he's like, "Oh man, like, what's that?" I was like, "Well, it's the deluxe version of this." He's like, "Well, what's it look like?" So we open it up and we show it to him. He's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And then Noah's like, "And if you buy this right now, he'll sign it." And he's just like, "Oh, whoa, you're the guy who wrote it." And it was just and he's just like, "Yeah, heck yeah, I'm going to buy it." We're just like, "Are you okay?" So I like get the regular one. He's like, "No, I'm not buying that one. I'm buying the deluxe." So at 6:00, as like the thing is closing, he pays for the deluxe. I sign it, and we sell it, and that's how I ended GenCon officially. Like,
delightful,
it was
man.
like,
Love it.
It was so good. I was like, yeah. And then when I was in the airport, I sent Noah a picture of the airport. He goes, "Oh no, come on, man." Like, this can't be happening again. He goes, "Well, on the bright side, Ed Greenwood just bought a copy of your book." And I was like, nice. "Oh, that's cool too." And then I was just like trying to search my brain for all the stuff I mentioned. Did I say anything bad about it? Am I too critical of Forgotten Realms? Nah.
Yeah.
What's done is done.
Yeah. Can't unscrew that light bulb, bud.
Yeah. No, it's always an adventure. It's always like in the moment, I'm always super, super tired. And like, because that's just how I roll now. But in retrospect, like on the days following, I look back fondly, even though travel is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I don't love that for you, but hey, you know what? You made it back, and you made it back in a better time than you made it back from the first time. So
yeah, this one was better, but it was. I feel like in a way, I've been traveling all this entire year, and like I finally, by having the train get screwed up and having to get on that plane and having that breakfast in the same spot, I got off a year-long ride.
Yeah.
I feel like when I got home last August, I wasn't home yet, like in a weird way. Like I was still traveling. Now I'm home and I'm really tired. And I haven't gotten sick yet either. I haven't I
put that out into the universe.
I thought Monday, I was like, "Oh no, maybe I'm getting sick," but I didn't. I'm just really tired, and I've not been pushing too hard, which is nice because I don't have anything really to push on. I finished the monster book before GenCon, so now I'm sort of like in this just kind of got to do stuff, but like nothing crazy.
I could read.
Yeah, I could read. I could paint some miniatures.
Yeah, well, you earned it the hard way coming back from GenCon. Yeah. Any final thoughts on your adventure?
Yeah, actually, there is, we've been talking about this a lot in the Discord, actually. The first time I was there was last year, and I was struck by how queer that show was in general. Like, there's a lot of obvious folks who are queer, and it's really cool to see that, and to see how central to the event they are. They're everywhere, they are welcomed, and it's nice to see. I was wondering ahead of this show if it would be quite so openly queer this time, and it is actually more so in aggregate, I think, than last year. I don't recall seeing these last year, but this year, on every other door is a sign that says harassment will not be tolerated here. And there is just a lot of really forthright, welcoming stuff at the show. Gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling thinking about it, and I think that should be mentioned and applauded, especially in the current state of affairs. I think that the inclination is to not do that. It just, if nothing else, because it saves you some headaches, potentially, especially in a place like Indiana. But GenCon has chosen not to do that, and I think that should be applauded.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell to the yeah. Well, this has been another amazing episode of the Vintage RPG Podcast. Stu, where can people find you on the internets?
They could find me on vintagerpg.com. I have embarked this week on writing the posts for 2026. Huzzah. So if you have any particular requests, I cannot guarantee that I will honor them, but you could get in touch with me through the Discord or through the contact form, and I will see what I can do. But it has begun.
This magical time of the year when you get a year ahead of work. You can find me across the internet at John McGuire RPG on Instagram and on the Blue Sky, hammockpublishing.com for all my literary works. And if you want to pick up books, definitely boogie on down to exaltedfuneral.com. We still have copies of Zombie Brain Eaters with the Killer Skinner cover over there as well. Some Brain Eaters by myself and Brian, the Neon Lord Shutter. And also, I just want to say a few things real quick. Thank you so much to everyone who backed Days of Future Fairhaven. Successfully funded campaign, better than I could have imagined. The pre-order store is open, so if you missed the campaign, you can actually go and you can order the book. We're going to be shipping them printer willing, because you know how that goes, end of September. So dive in on the pre-order of Days of Future Fairhaven. And the episode today we're recording airs on the 11th of August. The 8th of August is the 5th anniversary of 321 RPG Ham and Egg Publishing. I've been now in the actual creative side of the hobby for 5 years. I'm really proud of that. I'm really in awe of all the cool people I've gotten to work with, and all of the people who took the time and spent their money to buy these books that I have a hand in creating. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all your great support. You keep reading them. I'll keep writing them. So if you like the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Your reviews really help other listeners to find us. And if you really like the show, why not become a patron? Patreon.com. Oh, I have something to announce. My gosh, yes. Oh, no, this is a good announcement.
Oh, hey,
right.
Oh, yay.
Patreon.com/vintagerepg. So for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on early release episodes sometime between like Friday and Sunday, depending on when we record them in the week. At the $10 tier, I'm going to jump ahead to the $10 tier. You could get in on Stu's legendary, deadly West Marches campaign. And at the $5 tier, I run a monthly game. I usually do a different game every month. I'm also going to start in probably the next week or two. I'm just waiting to get some more people on board with this. Brian Shutter and Neon Lord made this amazing RPG called 1-900 Fantasy, which is a game about those old 900 numbers you used to call in like on the hotlines from back in the day. But it's a role-playing game based on something like that, where your hit points end up being the money on your parents' credit card. So I ran it the other day for the backers, for the patrons, and we had a blast with it. And I thought, I don't really have it in me to run a traditional campaign. I was like, but man, this thing really lends itself to wanting to run more of it. So at the $5 tier, in addition to my whatever thing I run monthly, I'm going to run a correspondence campaign for 1-900 Fantasy, where we do it over email. On Mondays, you will tell me what you want to do. On Fridays, you'll find out, Fridays or Saturdays, you'll find out what happens, and then we start the next week further into the dungeon. So I'm going to be doing a dungeon crawl by email using 1-900 Fantasy. All you need is a D12 and the willingness to wait several days to find out what happens when you roll your dice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? You brought it up a little while back and talking about correspondence campaigns and people, and I was like, yeah, that's such a cool idea. I was like, how would I don't know how I'd ever do it. And then I ran 1-900 Fantasy, which you can get right now in Exalted Funeral. It's one of the new releases up there with Zombie Brain Eaters and Ooze Nun, which is a killer mothership supplement that is by Tiger Wizard, by Joey Royale, as well as Tia Roxe and Sam McKenzie. It's for use with the Mothership sci-fi horror RPG. It is so good. It's all right up on the front page of Exalted Funeral right now, but yeah, I'm going to do this. It's gonna, and I'm actually going to try out some different classes for Brian as well, because there's only 4 classes in this thing, so I'm going to add a few more. We've been kind of brainstorming them a little bit, but this is going to be a good time. If you're at the $5 tier, get in on it. I'm going to repost probably on Monday, last call for now, to remind people to get in on it, and then I'm going to start running the campaign. And if you are on the $5 tier, you can jump in at any time. That we're going to need your help, because this game can be very deadly. Patreon.com/vintagerepg. So for Stu Horvath, I'm John Hambone McGuire. May the dice always roll in your favor. Thanks for listening. The Vintage RPG Podcast is a ham-fisted production. Music by Dead Go West. Art by Schaefer Brown. Edited by R. Alex Murray. Check us out at vintagerpg.com.